Hello and welcome back to my channel. You're watching the second attempt slash draft of this video because I didn't realise how dark it was outside trying to record it the first time. I recorded a full 25-minute video of me pulling out my TBR cards and picking my reads and explaining everything to you as I went, only to find out in the editing process that none of it is usable. You can't see me or the books that I'm talking about. So I can't use it, because of course. The downside of winter is only having like a half-hour gap to record in natural lighting, because I don't have a ring light or anything like that. I really should invest. So the downside of this is I already know what books are in my TBR, because like I said, I've already recorded it. And you're going to miss out on me pulling out those cards and watching my immediate reaction, but I had some reactions, and I'm sure you'll get the general gist of how I feel about my TBR as we go. I failed to read my Top Trumps TBR last month through no fault of anything else other than my own idiocy, in that I read one book from my Top Trumps TBR 5 minutes after I said that I was going to give myself punishments for not reading my TBR. So I have 13 wildcards, and because I only read 1 out of 6 books, which was just absolutely abysmal, I decided that the very least I could do is punish myself with 2 wildcards rather than just the 1. I know people on Twitter said that I only need to do 1, but to be honest, it was such a piss poor performance that I thought I need to do 2. It's only fair. Like, that was just, like I said, piss poor. So we have 2 books on my TBR already that I don't want there. These are all prompts, so the wildcards are all prompts that I don't want to do, either because I've written the author off or because it's a genre that I'm not interested, whatever it is. There's a whole range. I have 2 wildcards now that I need to replace with prompts because they'll be going back in, and I don't want to have to punish myself with the same punishment twice. So if you've got a punishment for me, a punishment wildcards prompt, please stick it in the comments below. Something else that I've said is that because I want to be held accountable for the fact that I'm actually going to read these books that I don't want to read, I will be vlogging the experience, because I don't actually like vlogging. So it seems only fair that I should include videos of the content that I don't like. Guaranteed that'll be the content that does really well, but that's just odds law. But the 2 that I picked out, one was Intimidating Read, and I actually posted a photo on Instagram the other day of the 2 most intimidating books on my TBR, and the first is The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt, which I've heard really good things about, but I'm just not in the mood for it. So I was like, well, if I'm not in the mood for it, then I'll go with The Count of Monte Cristo, because apparently I'm in the mood for 1,300 pages. Like, look at that. You could kill someone with this. This is a weapon of a book. It's a lot. It's by Alexander Dumas, who's the same person who wrote The Three Musketeers, so that's the kind of genre era that we're working with here. It is one of my best friend's favourite books, so I'm sure it's going to be great. But it's enormous, and I don't want to have to read this over the Christmas break. I quite like to do updates every 100 pages. Expect a long vlog for this one. And the second one was a 1-star prediction. Now, I know this is probably going to upset some people because I know that it's everyone's favourite, but Enchantment of Ravens is my 1-star prediction. I really didn't enjoy A Sorcery of Thorns. Oh, I've got a headache. I really didn't enjoy A Sorcery of Thorns. I just thought the writing style was way too simplistic. The characters were really tropey. I didn't like the plot. Like, it just, there was nothing in it that I enjoyed, but I know it's a firm fan favourite. And I have been told that Enchantment of Ravens is one of the best depictions of Fae out there. I think it's going to be shit, so going in with the lowest of expectations with this one, but I will give it a go, I guess. If you're wondering why I own it, if I have like no interest in reading it whatsoever, the reason is I did a book swap with someone on Discord, and they didn't really have anything that else that I wanted, but I knew that because everyone kind of was such a firm fan favourite, I would probably end up reading this at some point. So if I could get it for free, why not? And that's why I own it. But already we're not happy
Each Top Trumps card, that's really easy to say, Hannah. Thank you for giving yourself a card game that you can pronounce. Each Top Trumps card has 5 prompts on it. So we have the year, closest to 2020 because I want to read new releases, author you've never read before, page number, Goodreads rating, and art cover rating. And the only one that's really subjective is the art cover rating because only 3 of us voted on it. But for year, I ended up picking A Song of Wraiths and Ruin. This is an author of colour fantasy. I don't really know much more than that, to be honest, but it really looked quite interesting, and like I said, it's a new release, so I'm quite excited for that one. For author that I've never read before, I ended up pulling out Hood Feminism by Mickey Kendall. This is a non-fiction about feminism, and I'm quite intrigued by that one. For number of pages, I ended up picking Legendborn by Tracy Dion. That I do actually own a copy of. So this is about a young girl who I think finds out that she has magic or something magic related, and then ends up going to like a magic school. I don't know much more about it. Oh, and she's an orphan. Of course she is. I imagine it's going to be quite a tropey fantasy YA, but I'm quite excited for it. I've heard really good things, so. I've also heard that it's really sad and that I should be prepared to cry. Oh, it's an Arthur's Knights retelling. Oh, that's cool. I really didn't know anything about it when I bought it. I just knew that it looked really cool, and the people that I know that have read it have really enjoyed it. So that was that. Next was Goodreads rating. So that was You Should See Me in a Crown by Leah Johnson. So I will be doing this one as an audiobook because I know that it's on Scribd, and I'm quite excited for this one. I know she's LGBT, but I don't know which category in the LGBT community she is. It's about a young LGBTQ character, essentially, who I think wants to get a scholarship from becoming prom queen or something along those lines, but again, I've heard really good things. I don't know much else outside of that, but I'm quite excited for that one. I tend to be more excited for the books I know nothing about than the books that I actually know stuff about, because by the time I've got to that point I'm like, oh, you know, but like when I don't know much about them, the hype is still there. I'm still excited. And then the last one was for cover art, and I ended up pulling Mosquitoland. Mosquitoland was one of the few in my Believeathon TBR that I didn't quite get to, but this is about a young girl who finds out that her mum is sick and she travels across the country to get to her. David Arnold notoriously writes really sad books, so I'm sure this is another tearjerker, which is just what you want at the Christmas time, but I've had this on my TBR for a really long time, so I'm quite excited to finally get to it. And then there are 3 books left over from my Believeathon TBR that I just didn't get to, but that I really would like to. So the first is The Trials of Apollo, which is obviously the Rick Riordan spin-off from Percy Jackson series. Arusha End of Time, which is the first in the Arusha series. I've heard really good things. It just arrived too late, so I couldn't get to start on that as quickly as I'd have liked. And then the last one is Wizards of Once, because again, this was the one that I was most excited to read for Believeathon, and I just didn't get to this prompt in time, which is a real shame. But I'm excited for those 3, even though I didn't get to them last month. We're going to get to them this month, and we're going to have a good time. So that is my TBR. It's a hefty one. We've got, I mean the fact that that's 500 pages and it's not the biggest book that I've got is concerning. Oh, I mean, looking at this TBR is making me feel a bit sick, not gonna lie. And I've already looked at it and posed with it once already, but like I said, too dark, could not see. But yes, so there's my TBR for you. Wish me luck, and look out for those vlogs that I wasn't planning on recording, but now I am, apparently. And we'll leave it there. Okay, yeah. Have a nice day.